CHistrue, and this is a continuation of my critique of the skeptic community on a few issues. One of those is their absolute disavowal of anything having to do with conspiracy theories, i.e. JFK, discussions of Federal Reserve Bank, what forces might be behind the rise of fascism in the United States, as we see in our recent election, where we have blatantly fascistic rhetoric coming from, mainly from the Republicans, but blatantly fascistic rhetoric, the attempt to derail the candidacy of Bernie Sanders, the fact that he doesn't even get a fair hearing, what might be behind the move in the United States towards a less constitutional, more consolidated system of government, and why we can never discuss the issue of a conspiracy among, let's say, the academic community, why they won't go there. Even Noam Chomsky won't go there. Before I delve into the main focus of that, and I've done videos on this before, but before I delve into the main focus of that, I am curious. I don't usually like to go to Google Analytics. I don't usually like to really care about who's watching my videos or who's thumbing it up or who's thumbing it down. But I did look, and I noticed that I have an 87% male viewer rate. And while I don't change things for the sake of political correctness, this isn't a compromise for the sake of popularity channel. This isn't a be a nice guy channel. I say things as I see them. I say it as it is, but I do kind of wonder about that. And if you're a female viewer, maybe you can comment in the comment section as to... I'm not going to change anything necessarily, but I am curious as to your perspective as to why maybe I don't have more female viewers. Is it my nature of my approach? Or do I come off as a little overbearing? I probably won't change it, but I'd like to know at least, so that if there's somebody out there of intelligence who appreciates the content of this channel, maybe I can compromise on some non-essentials, like instead of pounding on the table, I just kind of pound on a lighter desk or something like that. But I am curious as to why. So feel free to comment below. Getting into the main focus, I want to talk about the fact that academic thinkers, even radical ones like Noam Chomsky, won't even go near the issue of a conspiracy, i.e. JFK, i.e. The Federal Reserve, i.e. the move towards fascism, why it is that we now have the possibility of military tribunals. And this was under a so-called Democratic president. Now, this is the president who promised that he would undo a lot of the fascistic turns of the Bush administration, and instead we have the war in Libya, we have, in addition to the war in Iraq, we have the attempted war in Syria, which, if it had happened, would have put us on the side of the Islamists. So why is it that we, with all the promises of hope and change, and I want to like him, I instinctively like him. I like the fact that he speaks well. I like the fact that he's an intellectual. But why it is that even with his good intentions, we couldn't have the kind of substantive change. We instead had more bank bailouts and more auto bailouts and more money to Wall Street. The bank bailout happened under Bush, I know, but he voted for it, and both parties essentially went along with it. And so this is what I want to understand. And I don't think we can without understanding shadowy forces. Now, I understand the skeptic community not going along with questions about Roswell, or maybe some of the conspiracy narratives that would challenge the dominant scientific worldview. Whether I agree with not looking into those subjects or not is another matter. But I can understand the skeptics, particularly maybe the left community with its strong commitment to rationalism. I can understand that. What I cannot understand, though, is the refusal of even a radical intellectual like Chomsky or the more liberal theorists to look into why it is that that they keep saying that a single gunman or lone gunman could have possibly taken out Kennedy, when scientifically that's impossible. I would ask them this one question. And if you're a skeptic out there and you're doubting conspiracies, I've made videos like this before, and I don't want to rehash the old points that I've made. So I'm going to ask this question. If you are a skeptic and you doubt conspiracy theories that involve powerful actors like the state or powerful actors like corporations, you might of course believe in conspiracy theories involving religious institutions. That maybe you would believe, but you wouldn't believe in them involving the state or corporations. Then can I ask, would you then encourage prosecutors to drop the charge of conspiracy against criminal defendants? I mean, we have a criminal justice system that is inherently geared towards the power of the prosecution. Their power has been greatly strengthened in the name of the war on drugs and the war on this and the war on that and the war on everything. Whenever there's a war on something, you know that there's trouble. Now, you might say that I'm one of those conspiracy theorists, and CHistrue, you're just one of those irrational conspiracy theorists who sees a conspiracy everywhere. Okay, fine. Granted. Maybe I'm wrong to think that anybody other than Oswald killed Kennedy. Can we then drop the idea of a charge of conspiracy that might put somebody away for a long period of time who had nothing actually to do with a crime? Can we say that prosecutors who charge people with conspiracies are paranoid, that they are that there's some evolutionary psychological reason why they see conspiracies behind everything? It has something to do with survival back in the savannah, and that therefore it's irrational, and that what the witnesses really saw was swamp gas or Venus, and not so-and-so doing a crime. I'm joking a little bit, but not really. Because you're willing to say that conspiracies are irrational when they are done by the powerful. But you are not willing, and by the way, there are a lot of irrational conspiracy theories on YouTube and on the internet. I will grant that. We have conspiracy theories claiming that the government is covering up the true shape of the earth and all kinds of nonsense. I mean, I've seen those. And they discredit what I would consider to be the actual real conspiracies. However, I'm willing to throw that under the bus. Possibly. I'd consider it. If you're willing to throw under the bus the idea of conspiracies among non-powerful actors, meaning conspiracy theories involving the powerless, conspiracy theories involving so-and-so might have been arrested with some drugs in their pocket. Well, it's intent to deliver. Well, it has to be. It's very clear. That's a conspiracy narrative. And in the name of the war on drugs, a whole lot of nonviolent people have been sent to prison for long periods of time based on conspiracy theories and conspiracy narratives. We have the conspiracy narrative involving a kid in the inner city whose life is now ruined. Are you willing to, or a woman whose boyfriend did something and now she's an accessory? Are you willing to get rid of those conspiracy theories? See, my whole point of delving into the study of let's say, what happened with JFK or so forth has to do with wanting to preserve liberty. But maybe having an overly paranoid mindset actually works against that. I think seeing something behind every bush, that's not freedom either. And so I will throw that under the bus because, frankly, it doesn't really get you anywhere in life. It's not conducive to happiness. If you're willing to throw under the bus conspiracy theories involving the politically powerless, the conspiracy theory involving illegal aliens coming to steal jobs when in fact they're actually being driven out of their countries. They're not here to steal jobs. They're here because they have to, because of economic forces. So I'll get rid of one conspiracy theory if you get rid of another. We'll see if you're willing to do that.